I'm gonna, yeah, I'm gonna send it to her right now. Thanks. I'm gonna send it to her in a Facebook chat. Okay, so here it is. Control paste. Okay. Control paste for Joan. She has the same thing. All right, so let me close those. All right, let's just get started. Bruce is not here either, but I invited him, so I'm going to do a separate Facebook invite. Talk to me, David. What have you done? What you want to talk about today? Sorry that we're late. You already know why. So what's going on?
Okay. Yeah, I'm probably going to be a little low on things to talk about today. I didn't get much done. I did put together my list of things that I need to do to make a path for my between here and getting money coming in on my business.
Okay.
And prioritize that, and started in on working on some of those items. So we had talked about coming up with an offer sheet. I think that's what Glenn calls an executive summary.
Yep.
And so I need to put together one of those. I believe it would be a wonderful idea for me to fill out the 10-step consultative process thing. Just because I'm so familiar with that, I don't think it'd be a big deal, and I'd be able to use little fragments of it here and there, and it would be really good to acquire that in my speech and mental habits.
I totally agree, and I want you to do that. So that would be great. And the offer sheet is a little bit different than the executive summary. And I don't know that the difference is powerful and significant. I've got done. I'm just sending individual invites to everybody. I already put it in the Facebook group. I already put it in the Google group. And I don't know where else to put it. I send it to Donna personally, so I don't know if she disappeared or what. I've sent it to Joan personally and Bruce personally. And the last one I want to do real quick is Mort. So I don't know why they're not looking in the usual places, but whatever. Mort Orman is control paste. Okay, boom. Everybody's got a private invitation, which I normally don't do, but whatever. All right, so an executive summary has an offer sheet embedded in it. So it tells you what they get. It tells a person what they get. And it's written also so that it can be easily turned into an agreement by just, signing it. Mm-hmm. So it is, and in Glenn's process, it comes at the end. So it comes after you've done the 10-step, or at the end, it's like step 8 or 9 in the 10-step process. And you don't send them an executive summary until they get through step 8, which is why they've qualified themselves for you. And so when you send an executive summary, you do it with the expectation that there's a really high chance to that they'll buy, right? Mm-hmm. And so you don't have them floating around all over the place. And so the executive summary has an explanation. So far, we've talked about this, cited about your business, some stuff up front. And then to recap what we've been discussing, here's what you get. And that's where the offer piece sits in the middle. And then say at the bottom, some more words that looks like an invitation to sign, to agree, and a direction to, let's get back together and schedule a time to close. And you don't call it closing the thing, but it's a little bit more. There's some words in front and back of the offer sheet itself. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah. I've got an example of Glenn's. So, yeah.
Does that sound right?
That sounds right.
Okay, cool. So let's just talk about your stuff because we're going to keep talking about it anyway in a few minutes. So what is, how did your, well, we'll talk about that later. What's in the, what has to happen between now and Yellow Button Day, the day that people can start giving you cash?
Okay. So the minimal line for Yellow Button Day is I need to have the offer sheet. I need to find have a list of prospects so that I can make calls to those prospects, so that I can have some preliminary conversations that are to frame the offer sheet and the offer so that they can sign up and we can get going. Now, the little bit wider view of that it includes having a website and an autoresponder so that I can follow up with some of the ones that I may not get this conversation process going immediately, and I can have a wider reach on staying in contact with some and warming them up to the point where we can have that preliminary conversation.
Okay, so where are you on creating not each of those things, but on creating a schedule to have each of them done that you believe you can keep to?
Okay, I have not put together a schedule. I just put together the list and figured out what I needed to do, and I started to work on some of them.
Okay, so here's your assignment.
Okay.
Your assignment is to pick a date for Yellow Button Day. Think about two kinds of yellow buttons. One is a conversation that you have with someone where they agree to hire you.
Mm-hmm.
And two is the end of a nurture process of some kind where they want to talk to you and go through, what would be a 10-step process. So you have a preliminary conversation. They say, yeah, but they don't do anything right away. You nurture them for a while in some fashion, and we'll talk about what that fashion is in a minute. And then at the end of that nurture process, they do the same thing. They say, like to chat with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. So, and then work backwards from that. So if it's a yellow, let me just use an example. Let's not use an example. Let's use you. So having conversations where they close with you and they actually pay you money means that you have an executive summary with an offer sheet embedded. It means you've gone through some kind of a consultation process with them, which means you have to have that done and organized in your mind. It means you have to be really clear about what you're offering and that offer sheet and everything that goes with it so that every line in there makes sense and you know what it's backed up by. Is it backed up only by your consultation where you visit with them? Is it backed up by some modules with some videos and some PDF sheets? Is it, what is inherent in that? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what is it? So then keep backing it up until you get to today. And you say between today and Yellow Button Day, there's these 9 things. And getting the website up and getting the autoresponder done, those are some of the 9, and maybe there's 11, maybe there's 15 things. So I have to have them give me a credit card. So I have to have a way to do that. Do I have a PayPal account? Or are they going to give it to me over the phone? What are the actual mechanics? So that has to be there in order for them to actually pay me. Okay, back up from that. I have to have the offer sheet ready, and then behind that, every single piece of what's on that offer sheet, whatever it is, done. So if there's some materials prepared or some instructions or some videos or some PDFs, those have to be done. Back up from that, I have to have the opportunity to visit with them in my consultation process. So I have to be clear about what that is and how I'll take someone through that and have practiced that enough so I can just do it well. And then I have to have, a way to get these people. I have to have autoresponder and website, and so you just keep backing it up so you have a full list of everything. Is that what you've done already?
Yeah.
So you think you have a full list?
I don't have a full list at the detail level. I have a full list at the high level.
Okay, good. So finish it at the detail level and then assign times next to it. How many hours is it going to take to do this? How many hours or days of work, given your other work schedule and given your trips to California, it's going to take 5 hours. It's going to take, and let me rephrase what I just said. Just create the number of hours of work that it takes to do that blob. So I think I need 10 hours to put together this piece of the offer. I think I
right,
need
and it's just 10. A guess where I don't know, right?
Exactly. So you estimate with your best estimating, not optimistic or silly. How many hours will it take to get my website up and get it hooked to an autoresponder? How many hours will it take me to write 10, 15 nurture emails? So you have just like you do in software, how many hours does it take to do each of these pieces, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you take that list of hours and you overlay it on your calendar. And that's where you take into account your travel to clients like you are right now, travel to California. When can I do that? And if you start working backwards from what I call yellow button day, or that's the day you get your first client, boom, you can see if it goes back before today or not. It doesn't really matter, but you just assign a yellow button day, overlay the hours on your calendar, back it up and see if it is you end before today or after today. And if it's before today, then you move it forward and you say, okay, given everything that I really estimate I have to do, this is my real yellow button day because I can't work last week. I can only work forward. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
And it would be just like you do for a project, right?
Yep. Should I try to delegate any of the stuff?
You absolutely should if you think that it's going to reduce your time. So if you think I'm going to get somebody to write these emails, I'm picking that out of the air. And then you think, what would it take to get them, to train them, or to get them to understand what I need? That's going to take longer than if I just do it. I should do it. And that doesn't mean you never delegate that. But the first batch would be better if you're going to delegate something, you say, do them like that. Then that would be easier to delegate. If you say, I'm going to delegate somebody to do some website work for me, that may make sense. You say, I need you to pick a WordPress theme. I've picked the theme. Here it is. I want you to make it look like that. And you hand them a mock-up on a piece of paper. Do that. That might make sense.
Okay.
So delegate where you don't delegate anything that's the core competency, number one. Number two, do delegate anything you think will save you time, and that the time involved in finding the right person, managing it, and getting it done to your standards will be less than the time of you doing it yourself. Then delegate it. That rule only holds true for this first time through. After you've got this first piece up and running and you know it works because you've got your first client who paid you, then go through the process and say, what can I delegate here? Now that I have a working example and I can say to my delegatee, do it like that because that works.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. So the things I was thinking of were I'd like. It's pretty easy to. I think it'd be pretty easy to delegate getting someone to put together a prospect list because I know the criteria of the areas where I want to find people and what I'm looking for. And it doesn't really matter if they come up with a different list than I would come up with because, either list is equally valid, and we're not really trying to get the definitive list at this point. We're just trying to get
perfect,
get rolling. So
perfect.
So that's what I was thinking of as a delegation item, and I wasn't quite sure where to take that in terms of looking for people to do that. And I thought that probably you or Joy might have some ideas there.
Fancyhands.com. Fancyhands.com is a US-based admin service that does everything from call your utility to talk about connection and disconnection to any kind of business research and other stuff you want. I have not used them personally. They come highly recommended to me from someone who has.
Okay.
Fancyhands.com. There's a gal on it with a pencil in her mouth. and it says, we get stuff done for you. And then they have pricing at, 5 tasks a month, and they have a team. So what they are is they're a aggregator for Elance services, essentially. And they're trying to make it easy for you. So you just call and talk to one person and vomit your list, and then they go do it.
Okay, so behind the scenes, they're going to find Elance people and get them to do it?
I think they have a pile of people that are signed up with them. In other words, they have a pile of people that do certain things, and they look at, in fact, I know that's what they do. They look at the assignment and then go to the person that does that stuff. Here, you do this, you do this, you do this, you do this. And they get paid by fancy hands. You do not pay the individual contractors. You pay fancy hands, and then they've got a pile of people behind them that do stuff.
Okay.
And the range is supposed to be really, really broad, like literally everything from, give me a car to show up at 8 o'clock tomorrow night at the Philadelphia airport to take me to my hotel. Done. And you just make one phone call and you got it done. And then they look it up and find the best deal and do all that stuff for you.
Huh. Okay. Well, be worth trying out just to see what they do and how well it works.
Yeah. And I'd be really interested in your feedback too. They came recommended to me from someone who's used them, but I don't know the breadth and depth and how long they've been with them and stuff like that. So that's where I found them. Their business proposition is really cool. It's very attractive to me because making a phone call and say, make this happen, click, is my ideal sort of world. Yeah. Well, it's the world I lived in as an executive. I had people all over the place, and I just called up my admin and I said, I actually did most of it through my exec. I just called them up and said, go tell this department, do this department, do that, this and that, and the other. I want it done in 3 days. Go, boom. And it was set up so that they knew that if she came with an assignment from me, they didn't get to say, well, did Kellen really mean it? The answer was, yeah, I wouldn't be here if you didn't tell me to do this. So I only had to, and I had staff meetings and gave some of it there, but it worked. And I got into a model where my staff was trained to do well, to produce, to ask questions at the time, not be afraid, make sure they understood it, understood they had free reign to get it done. I didn't care how it got done, just get this outcome and get it done. And so I, got really efficient and good organizations and got a lot of incredible stuff done that way. So if Fancy Hands is anything like that, man, I'm stoked.
Okay. Yeah, no, I figure that I'll just start with simple tasks and get somebody to do those until we run out of horsepower and with the more complicated stuff, and then see whether that's a person or a service I want to continue with.
Perfect. So the key here to making what I just described for you work is the detail. Because when you're at the high level, it's impossible to accurately estimate the time requirements. And you know that, again, I'm talking to a software guy. So you got to get down to the actual tasks that need to be done and just guess. You are just guessing, but guess reasonably based on your extensive experience about how to get stuff done. Pad it a little, because there's really no point in going through this exercise over and over again when you don't meet deadlines and you realize 1 week into a 3-month process, you're already 3 days behind in terms of your schedule. So I find it really helpful to detail out the project, start to finish, and then look at it critically. If I actually get every one of these things done, will I be ready to have a yellow button up on that day? And I look at it and I say, yeah, I will. There's nothing missing. Okay, cool. And I get to that confidence level, and then I start assigning hours. And after the hours are done, and I'm a little generous with that so I don't trip up right away, then I overlay it on the calendar, given coaching calls that I have, giving trips that I have, given where else I'm going, and blah, blah, blah. And I say, okay, I can get that done by, November 15th. Okay, cool. And or else I work it backwards and pick a day I wish it was done and then work it backwards and say, well, that was really stupid. That was optimistic. How about November 30th? Okay, good. November 30th. So that I find works for me.
Okay.
And I'm sure you do a similar process that you've used for decades in your business, right?
Yeah, for software projects. So this fits in there nicely, I think.
Okay, so
except for all the uncertainties, but we have those in software too. Well,
that's why I'm talking really fast to you, because I know this is going to be something like you already do. to make your clients happy. So, okay, cool. So do that and get your detail done so that you have a sense. And then when you have that detail, here's the fun thing about that. It's easy to spot the critical path. And so you said to yourself, you've started working on those. That's cool. But without this sort of detail, you can end up delaying the project. You know this by not having done some critical path sort of prerequisite things, and you end up spending an extra year at university because you didn't do stuff in the right order. So don't do that to yourself.
Okay.
So that you can meet the things you want, because there's always going to be parts of the project that are fun and easy and low-hanging fruit, and they may be cool to do, but if you did the other thing first, it's like that makes them a lot more. It makes them make more sense in terms of the order. So,
okay,
cool. So, what else?
Let's see. 26 on the core 4.
Good for you.
So I'm improving. I got interrupted a couple times on the relationship stuff, and that somehow bounced out of my mind and didn't get picked back up after the interruption.
So let me interrupt you. We can do all this on our call in a few minutes. Since this is Omega time and no one else has joined us, and I don't know why, because Donna asked if we were doing it and Joan Gracie asked if we were doing it, and I sent them private invitations. So I'm not sure, Joan and Jean and Donna, if you watch this later, I didn't hear anything from Bruce or Mort. So I'm not sure. I did start late today because,
hey.
All right. Let's roll. I'll quit with the explanation. You're on. What do you need today, and what can I do for you? Joan, Jean.
Hello.
Hi.
Is this Jean or Joan?
It's Jean.
Jean, what can I do for you today?
Oh, I feel like I'm behind the 8 ball. So what did I miss?
Well, we missed a detailed explanation of how to schedule projects and how to get them organized in your timeline and get them done. Reverse engineering a deadline. As David has a particular, he has a yellow button day. He has a day he wants to start getting money from a certain initiative that he has, and so we talked about how to create a schedule that is realistic and starts today and ends up on a certain day to do that. So that's what we spent time doing. We were a little bit late starting today, not a little bit, like 20 minutes, because I actually got confused. I thought I had a private call before at this time, and this was next hour. So I tried to organize that private call, and the client said, hey, I think we're an hour from now, and I realized I was screwed up. On top of that, I got an emergency call from a client in France, and I was on the phone for 10 or 15 minutes with them. And so between the two of those things, I got dorked up, and we started about 20 minutes late. So David and I have been working for half an hour. Donna was looking for the link, and I sent everyone a private invite, but I don't know where anybody is. So you're up, because David and I have had a good conversation for over a half an hour, and it's your turn, and you can have anything you want. So go for it.
Well, got all the time. Thank you. So I guess in my personal world, working with Joan, we're finalizing a lot of projects that we have, and I just always feel like there's always that fine line between wrapping up some projects that we are and then getting back on the sales wheel again to get more projects in the house. So I just wasn't sure if there was any magic or any formula that you guys could share with me on how to keep that momentum going from a sales process, because now I just feel like I'm back from vacation and tying up my projects that I was working on from a fulfillment standpoint, and now we're going back into the sales arena again for me. So any word of advice that you could share to keep me on track, then in turn keep APA on track.
Yes, I have a very specific plan that I use. I'd be interested to see what David has to say about that too. But yes, I have a very specific thing that I do, and it's an expansion of what I call Core 4, which we've talked about a little bit, and David's familiar with because he's a private client. So I create a module, and it's not a training module, a module of stuff for myself that I do every day. So I have my Core 4, which is body, being, balance, business. And then I have, after that, a module or a blob of elegant name, a blob of stuff that I do every day, unless I skip it because I'm like on a plane or something. But it's a blob of stuff that is marketing. So, for example, I try to create a Facebook video every day, a LinkedIn post every second or third day. That's something new I've added, so I've only got a few of them up. I'm working on a leadership angle on that because I just had an opportunity yesterday to speak in front of a bunch of energy executives on leadership. So I'm going after that. So I do a video a day that I put up. I do a LinkedIn post a day that I do up. I do some reach outs on Facebook, which is a 10 by 10. We call it the Facebook Hustle Strategy. It also works on LinkedIn, which is where you guys should be given what you do, Gene. But the key here is, what are the marketing activities that I would do if I was only marketing? Okay, I do these 10 things. What chunk of those things can I wad up into an hour of sort of daily ritual that even if I'm working most of the day on fulfillment and doing other things, part of my daily ritual is to do this kind of outreach, to pet these potential prospects, to send an email out to these people, to write an article on LinkedIn about branding, talent branding, to stuff that you can do in an hour. So I'm going to spend 1 hour every day, no matter what else I do, on marketing, and decide ahead of time this core of things is what that looks like. And that is a technique that I find keeps me in the marketing game. It keeps my mind part of the day on those lead generating processes. And it also keeps the iron hot because prospects that haven't come through yet, I touch them, I send out emails, I write articles, I do things that keep me in the game every day, even if I'm doing most of the day fulfillment. Like, for example, today I've got 7 hours of coaching calls, so that's a full day, and but even with that, I've got a certain list of things that I'm going to do anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
It does. I want to find my mic. Okay, my mic is on. So when you're looking at that activity, Colin, and it seems like you're pushing out, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're pushing out content that's valuable to your prospects. What part, when does it go into a harder try to close someone via that activity, or you don't use that mechanism for that?
So here's how I work with that. My content that I push out, I make sure it's valuable. It always has a soft invitation. If you'd like to know more, send me a private message if I'm doing on Facebook. If I'm on LinkedIn, if you'd like to find out more about what we do, please let me know. And once in a while, someone will send a message back, hey, I like what you said, or I'll look at people that like or comment on my stuff, and then I'll send a note out to them, hey, love to chat with you more about what you're up to, Mr. or Ms. So-and-so, because I'm always asking people to talk about themselves. I'd love to find out more about what you're up to, and learn how, learn your secrets, learn success, learn whatever, and see if there's a way we might support you. Sometimes I put that in, sometimes I don't. It depends on how well I know the person or if I don't know them at all. Because as soon as you say, and see if there's a way that everybody hears, sales, 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 sales. And so you have to not do that to start with. And so I always put a soft invite. If you'd like to know more, please send me a message.
Okay.
That puts the ball in their court. And that happens. So I just, ended up in this conference that I spoke at yesterday. Speaking with someone who is there, who happened to be the conference chair, who has an event in March that has 1,000 delegates at it. And just approached him afterwards, had some conversation, and I'm very likely going to get a chance to speak in March in front of 1,000 people on what I do, which is leadership and business development and transformational coaching. And
with that specific scenario, you clarify for me. You attended the conference and you had that conversation. You weren't part of the conference at that point, but because of your conversation, you may be getting a booking gig in March.
Yeah, I was part of the conference yesterday.
You were.
He was the chair of the conference yesterday. I got the speech yesterday because of another speech I gave, and someone asked me to talk.
Right.
Because I got to know this chair, and I knew he was also the guy that put this big conference on in March. I approached him afterwards and said, and he profusely slobbered all over me about my speech. And so I said, dude, can I get on your program in March?
Got it.
And I mean, that's how I talk, okay? And so everybody talks their own style. I just said, dude, can I get on your program in March? And he said, you know, that might be a really good fit. In fact, that's not what he said. He said, yes, I'll need to think about how to fit that in, but I'd love to have you. So it sounded like a pretty good thing.
Yeah, and what I can share, you know, just through this coaching, we have been a lot more planning ahead where I may not have speaking gigs for Joan now, but I booked her in January, we got her in March, you know what I mean? So there's different things that are happening from an activity standpoint. I guess for me, it's just not immediate, you know what I mean? From a cash flow standpoint, I need openings and or stuff for October. You know what I mean? So all this is working.
I do. So here's what you have to do if you need it for October. Okay. October starts tomorrow. You have to go through every prospect that is not a client right now. You have to ask for referrals from everyone you've ever served. And you do it in the right way. Asking for referrals is, you know, we love to help people get the same results we got for you. Who do you know? Not do you know anyone. Don't ask people, do you know anyone? Because that's a yes or no question. Who do you know that would benefit from similar services or some of the other things, you know, we do, so that we get to help some more people? Who do you know that I should have a conversation with? Okay. And if they say nobody, then they say, and you say, okay, cool. Where should I go to find some of those people? So the trick is, who do you know, where should I go? Okay. Who do you know, where should I go? And then you're never rejected because people want to help you. And it's rare that they say, I don't know anybody, I have no idea where you can go. And if that's actually the answer, then they either don't like you or they're an idiot.
Right. Can I throw in one other little twist on that?
Please do.
You can ask them who's the best person, because even if they're saying, well, I only know 4 people on the planet, and they're all not even remotely close to what you do. If you ask for the best one, somebody's still going to come to their mind.
Beautiful. So David, what else do you have for her?
Okay, so yeah, Kellen provided a good solution to what I was going to talk about, but what you don't want to happen is what I fall into a lot, regardless of what I'm selling and delivering, and that's the going against the grain of the marketing, sales, delivery cycle, and that's where you don't have anything going on, so you get real excited about marketing, in other words, getting more prospects, and see you do a bunch of work there, and then that naturally leads into the sales aspect, where now you've got people to talk to, and you get into closing sales, and then that naturally leads into the delivery area where you're providing them service, and then by that point all that marketing stuff that you did is long forgotten, and it's gotten stale, and it's lost momentum, and you know, maybe it's just flat out not working anymore. But you don't care, because things are looking fine right now. You're delivering service, and then that comes to a stop, and you don't even care then, because the checks are coming in at that point for the past service that you've been delivering, or at least that's kind of how it works in what I do. And then by the time you roll back to the marketing, you kind of remember, oh my God, there's a lot of lead time in this. I can start tomorrow, but the prospects might not be here for a month or a month and a half or a week or whatever it is in your cycle. So Kellen provided the answer to that. If you don't forget about it until you need it, which is what most business people do, but chip away at it every day, then you're not going to get caught into this feast or famine cycle.
Let me add one thing to that, or not add, just riff on it a little bit. Guerrilla marketing, which is started in the 80s as a book by J. Conrad Levinson, and is now required piece of text for every MBA program in the country. says that one following principle. Every single thing you do is marketing. Every touch between your company and anybody anywhere is marketing. So whether you're delivering services, you also think about it as marketing. Whether you're closing sales, you also think about it as marketing. You always have your mouth open to who else, where else, how can I do more for you, how can I do a better service for you, what else can I do to grow our effectiveness for you, who else do you know? And so everything you do is marketing, everything. And you never have a day go by without some intentional, focused marketing, even if you just spend an hour on it. So that's the answer about how to keep that lead time short and that funnel full.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay, so we have gone over just a few minutes. I'm really curious about where everybody is.
Well, I know Mort went on it looked like from Facebook that he may have had a conference this weekend that he was going to. I think I saw that, but I could be confused on the date.
No, I think you're right. I guess Donna is who I was looking for, because she said, are we having one today? And I sent her a private invite and said yes in the Facebook group, and put the link in the Facebook group, and put it in Google+, and I don't know what else to do. So
well, you did it all right. I mean, to be honest with you, when I messaged you, I just got diverted, and I swear to God, it gets sucked in one email, and 20 minutes goes by.
Yeah, like, no, I get it. I get it.
So those are, I think right now, just even talking to you guys, I'm glad that I got on the call, because I was getting to a high level of frustration of what else could I do to generate business for this month, as opposed to the long-term planning that I have been doing. So the referral email I'm very comfortable with, based on how you posted it.
Referral, and every prospect you've ever had, just, hey, you know, I haven't visited with you for a day, a week, just checking to see if there's some service that I might offer you or way I can support you today. Okay, no, all right, well, you're busy, great. Who do you know that might benefit from some of the services? Okay, where should I go? Who's the best person? Everything that, you know, that's just an easy conversation instead of, do you want to buy my stuff? You don't want to buy my stuff, do you? Kind of feeling, right?
Right. I want to avoid that at all costs.
Well, the answer is always no, I don't want to buy your stuff. But I would like help solving this problem.
Right.
Oh, cool. Well, we can help you with that. Oh, good. Well, then let's chat.
Right.
Okay?
Yep, those are my topics.
Okay, cool. So, Donna, if you're watching or if you watch this later, sorry that you weren't able to join us. I know that in the beginning you were. I did start a few minutes late, and we're ending a few minutes late. Not quite as many minutes, but whatever. So, David, have we covered everything you need today? And Jean, have we covered everything you need today?
Yes.
Yeah, Kellen, can you just go into, so I know you've been putting stuff out on LinkedIn. How's that going? I don't, you know, when you first mentioned that you were going to do that, I went out there to look for it, and I can't even figure out how to find it. So I don't know how people actually see it. The only things that I see on LinkedIn are these things that are like from, you know, Jack Welch of GE and you know, other famous people posting stuff, but I don't see anything from my peers or friends or contacts or whatever.
All right, so let's just go see. Because my posts have been getting reposted and favorited, and I have several new followers on LinkedIn and on Twitter because I've been doing it, and I've only been doing it for a few days, and quite honestly, I have not been as regular about doing it as I just preached. And so I know that if I was better at doing it than I am, it would be even more valuable. So I have had 30 people ask to connect with me in the last 2 weeks because of it. I have an interview that has been requested because of this leadership stuff. And I'm looking right now on my LinkedIn to see if I can figure out how to, I don't want to do this on real time. I'm not sure how to tell you how to find it other than look at my page, which most people wouldn't do. So it's on leadership. I put 4 up so far over the last 2 weeks. I was trying to do 3 a week, and then it went to 2 a week, and I So I have 6 written, 6 steps for leadership, blah, 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 blah. And one of them is going to go up today, assuming I get it written with my schedule of coaching calls. So anyway, which is part of my daily blob is to do that sort of thing. So I can't tell you how to find it unless you look at leadership topics and you belong to groups where it's going. So I'm going to have to do a little research on that to help you.
What I would like to play off of David's question, what I would like to know when you get yourself more involved with LinkedIn, we've been using that mechanism for a very long time, and I would say that our followers are up there. All our statistics are amazing. You guys would probably die to see our statistics, but we haven't had a conversion from the efforts that we've put in, per se. So I would like to get your thought. I don't know if Joan does do that soft. Contact me, do a private message. I'll have to make sure now that I just learned that. So simple and seems common sense, but I don't think we have that in our blogs that we put out there. So
let me ask a question. Are you saying that the statistics that would be great to die for are the number of people that look at your stuff?
That's what I would assume, and the likes that we get.
Okay, so what that means is there's 3 pieces to either an email or an article or a video. One is connection. So there's some reason that they want to watch you. They have some connection. If you have a big follower list, then that piece is already done, subscribers and followers. And the second piece is content. So that's something that you're giving them that's valuable. And the third piece is a call to action. Now, the call to action can be overt or subtle. An overt one can be hard or soft. So overt ones are buy my stuff. That's hard. Soft is if you'd like more, go here. Subtle call to action are letting them understand results that they could get if you used them. I mean, if they used you. So rather than just you can curate, which is find cool stuff on leadership. So I have VAs in the Philippines that go find leadership stuff and put it up so that I have stuff on my different profiles. That would never convert in a million years for me. What it does is it lets people know I'm a source for leadership thoughts. Okay? And mentoring. I use it. Hashtag mentoring, hashtag leadership. And so I get lots of likes and reshares and stuff of tweets and LinkedIn stuff that I do for that. That won't convert ever. What converts is, wow, I talk about something, your talent brand, and then the last part of the article, and the whole thing's only 400 to 500 words long, not big long, is benefits that those people, my clients who use this system, have seen a $97 million increase in the first 5 minutes, or they have employee retention rates to die for, or something that lets me feel like I'm missing out because I'm not hiring David to help my law firm get clients. So the article contains connection, it contains some content, and the call to action that's subtle is, wow, people that are doing this, my clients that are doing this are getting these amazing results. And that makes it feel like, okay, I'm missing something by not talking to you, and your people are getting cool stuff. And if those are compelling results for whatever it is that I want, then I start to not only want to read your articles, but I'm thinking, who are they going to brag about today? Holy crap, I wonder if I should do that. And that feeling starts to get created, and that starts the conversation when they say yes to the if you'd like more info. So if you just tell them cool crap and say if you'd like more info, then it's like, well, I'll just wait for your article tomorrow.
Right. Point taken. Yeah. So sorry, I jumped in on your session, David.
Oh no, that's okay. Good exchange there, and I did find Kellen's stuff when I actually went to your profile and looked at the posts there, but I just wonder how people see them any other way.
I don't know, but they are, because they're getting I'm getting favorited and retweeted. Let it put stuff reshared on Twitter because I get notifications when that happens. So
yeah, that's great.
I know that if they look at the right topically, and I know also in groups stuff. And I will be the first to admit I've been using Facebook a lot, so I'm really good with that. But I'm just starting to mess around here on LinkedIn because I decided with this talk that was on leadership that I was going to start pushing leadership stuff on LinkedIn because it's something I know how to do and I've had a lot of experience at. I thought, hey, here's another place I can go. So this is just evolving for me.
Yep, very good.
Okay, cool. Let's we'll jump off. We're a quarter after. David, you want to call me right back and we'll just keep going?
Sure.
Okay, cool. We'll talk to you guys later.
All right, talk to you Monday. Bye.
Bye-bye.